Richmond, Virginia. March 7th, 2010. Kevin Morrison swings the sledgehammer one more time. The old brick crumbles. Red dust fills the air of the living room. His wife Alicia stands in the doorway with their daughter Jade, both watching him destroy their fireplace. "Are you sure about this?" Alicia asks for the third time. "The contractor wanted $3,000, Kevin says, wiping sweat from his forehead. "I can do this myself for free. They bought the house 6 months ago. 847 Maple Avenue. Beautiful 1920s Victorian. 3 bedrooms, hardwood floors, original crown molding, and a fireplace that hasn't worked since 1995, according to the inspection report. The chimney is blocked." That's what the inspector said. Probably birds' nests or debris, common in old houses. Easy fix. Except when Kevin called contractors, they all said the same thing. The blockage is at the bottom. Inside, the fireplace itself. Behind the bricks. Someone bricked up the fireplace from the inside. That's not normal. Kevin didn't care about normal. He cared about having a working fireplace before next winter. So he's doing it himself. He swings again. Another brick falls. He's made a hole about 2 feet wide now. He can see into the space behind the decorative brick facade. That's when the smell hits him. It's not birds' nests. It's not debris. It's something old and wrong. "Kevin?" Alicia notices his expression. "What's wrong?" He doesn't answer. He's staring into the hole he made. There's something dark in there. Something that isn't insulation or wood or anything that should be in a fireplace. Kevin pulls out his phone, turns on the flashlight, shines it through the gap. It takes his brain a moment to process what he's looking at. He wants it to be a rolled-up carpet. He wants it to be old construction trash. But as the beam cuts through the dust, the shapes resolve. It's a shoe, then denim. And then, the undeniable, terrifying realization of what or who is hidden in the dark. Kevin drops the sledgehammer. It hits the floor with a crash that makes Alicia and Jade jump. "Kevin, what?" Alicia starts. "Get out," Kevin says. His voice doesn't sound like his own. "Get out of the house, now." "What? Why?" "There's someone in the fireplace." Bridge to commentary. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear this story. If you're comfortable, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you what happened at 847 Maple Avenue. Alicia doesn't believe him at first. She thinks he's joking, making some kind of sick prank. But then she sees his face, the color drained from it, the way his hands are shaking. "Call 911, Kevin says. "Right now." Alicia pulls out her phone. Her hands are shaking too. Jade is asking what's happening, but neither parent answers her. 911, what's your emergency? "We found something," Alicia says. Her voice is high and tight. "In our fireplace. Human remains." The operator asks her to repeat that. Alicia does. The operator asks if she's sure. "My husband saw it," Alicia insists. "Please send someone." The operator tells her to leave the house. "Don't touch anything. Officers are on the way." They go outside. Stand in the front yard. Kevin is breathing hard, trying to steady himself. Jade is crying. "What's happening? What did you see?" Kevin kneels down, hugs his daughter. "It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. The police are coming." But he doesn't know if it's going to be okay. They've been living in this house for 6 months, sleeping 30 feet away from this discovery. How long has it been there? How did it get there? Who is it? Sirens approach. 3 police cars pull up. Then a fire truck. Then an ambulance. The quiet Sunday afternoon on Maple Avenue becomes chaos. Police officers come over. Ask Kevin what happened. He explains. Renovating the fireplace. Found the remains. Didn't touch anything. One officer goes inside with a flashlight. Comes back out 30 seconds later. His face is pale. He radios for more units. For the coroner. For crime scene investigators. The next 3 hours are a blur. More police arrive. Firefighters carefully dismantle what's left of the fireplace brick by brick. Crime scene photographers document everything. The coroner arrives in a black van. Kevin, Alicia, and Jade sit in a police car. not arrested, just separated from the scene. An officer brings them water, tells them it's going to be a while. Through the front window of their house, Kevin can see people in white suits working, taking photos, measuring, writing notes. Finally, someone emerges from the house. The coroner. She's carrying a black transport bag. 2 assistants help her load it into the van. Kevin feels sick. That was a person, a human being. Who sealed them in a fireplace? Why? How long have they been there? A detective approaches the police car. He's in his 40s, Hispanic, tired eyes. His badge says Detective Raymond Torres. Mr. Morrison, Mrs. Morrison, I need to ask you some questions. They go to the police station. Jade stays with Alicia's sister, who rushes over. The adults sit in an interview room. Torres records the conversation. Walk me through what happened, Torres says. Kevin explains. They bought the house 6 months ago. The fireplace didn't work. He decided to fix it himself, started breaking through the decorative brick, made the discovery. Did you know the previous owners? Torres asks. No. We bought it through a real estate company, investment property. It had been a rental for years. Do you know who owned it before that? No. Our realtor handled everything. Torres writes this down. The remains have been there a long time, years, probably over a decade based on the preliminary assessment. The fireplace was professionally sealed. Someone knew what they were doing. Kevin feels cold. Someone put a person in our fireplace and sealed them in. That's what it appears. We'll know more after examination. But I need you to understand something. Your house is a crime scene now. You can't go back there. Not for a while. How long? Alicia asks. Could be days. Could be weeks. We need to process everything. Make sure there's no other evidence. Other evidence? Alicia's voice rises. You think there might be more? I don't know. But we have to check. They end up staying at Alicia's sister's house. Kevin can't sleep. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees what he found. Who were you? He thinks. How did you end up in my fireplace? 2 days later, Torres calls. We've identified the victim. Can you come to the station? They meet in the same interview room. Torres has a file folder. He looks even more tired than before. The victim is Darius Coleman, Torres says. He slides a photo across the table. A driver's license. A young black man, smiling. He was 28 years old, reported missing, September 20th, 2000. He's been gone for almost 10 years. Kevin stares at the photo. Darius Coleman had his whole life ahead of him, and someone took it away and hid him in a fireplace. Do you know what happened to him? Kevin asks. We're investigating, but I wanted to ask if you'd ever heard that name. Darius Coleman. Did your realtor mention him? Did any neighbors talk about him? No. We'd never heard of him. The house was owned by a man named Victor Petrov in 2000. He hired Darius to do renovation work. Darius disappeared in September. Victor sold the house a month later. We believe Victor is responsible. Alicia covers her mouth. Oh my God. We're trying to locate Victor Petrov now. He left Virginia in 2000. We're tracking him down. What about Darius's family? Kevin asks. Do they know? Torres nods. I notified his mother yesterday. She's been looking for him for 10 years. She never believed he just left. She was right. Kevin thinks about that. A mother who never gave up, who kept looking even when everyone told her to move on. And now she finally has answers. Terrible answers, but answers. Is there anything we can do? Kevin asks. Just let us do our job. We'll find Victor, and we'll make sure he answers for what he did. Detective Raymond Torres has been a cop for 22 years. He's worked hundreds of cases, seen terrible things. But this case bothers him more than most. A young man was taken and sealed in a fireplace. His family spent 10 years wondering what happened to him, and the person responsible walked away clean, sold the house, started a new life somewhere else. Not anymore. Torres is going to find Victor Petrov, and he's going to make sure Victor pays for what he did. He starts pulling records. Victor Petrov, born in Russia, 1968, immigrated to the United States in 1995, married to Irina Petrova, no children, started a house-flipping business with a partner named Alexei Volkov. Torres notices something. Alexei Volkov disappeared in 1999, 1 year before Darius. There's no missing person report, no death certificate. Alexei just vanished. Torres pulls property records. Victor and Alexei co-owned 847 Maple Avenue. They bought it in 1998. Alexei disappeared in August 1999. Victor hired Darius in September 2000. Darius disappeared. Victor sold the house in October 2000. Too many coincidences. Torres gets a warrant to search the house again. Specifically, the basement. Ground-penetrating radar, looking for more anomalies. The radar shows something under the concrete floor, northwest corner. Something buried there. Torres brings a forensic team. They carefully excavate. 3 feet down, they find skeletal remains. Human skeleton, male, adult, evidence of trauma. Buried under the basement floor, they find a wallet with the remains. Russian passport. Name, Alexei Volkov. Torres was right. Victor didn't just harm Darius. He harmed his business partner first, buried him in the basement. And when Darius found the evidence a year later, Victor silenced him too. 2 victims, both at the same house, both to hide the first crime. Now Torres just needs to find Victor. He tracks Victor through tax records, property purchases, business licenses. Victor moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2000. He's still flipping houses, still married to Irina, living under his real name. Torres coordinates with Charlotte PD. They arrest Victor at his office. He's 52 now, graying hair, calm expression. Like he expected this day would come eventually. Torres flies to Charlotte, interviews Victor at the local police station. Darius Coleman, Torres says. Remember him? Victor doesn't flinch. Yes, I hired him in 2000. He did some carpentry work. His remains were found in your property. In the fireplace. That's impossible. He left after finishing the job. I paid him cash. He left. We found him. Sealed behind bricks. I don't know how he got there. Torres slides a photo across the table. Crime scene photo. You put him there. Victor stares at the photo. No emotion. I want a lawyer. What about Alexei Volkov? Your business partner? We found him too. Buried in your basement. Victor's jaw tightens. Lawyer. Now. Torres leans back. Victor isn't going to talk. But Torres doesn't need him to. He has the remains. He has the property records. He has a motive. He just needs one more thing. Someone who knows what really happened. He needs Irina Petrova. Irina Petrova sits across from Torres in a different interview room. She's 45 years old, thin, tired looking, like she hasn't slept well in years. Mrs. Petrova, Torres says gently, I need you to tell me the truth. About Darius, about Alexei, about what your husband did. Irina's hands shake. She clasps them together on the table. I don't know anything. I think you do. I think you've known for a long time. And I think it's been eating at you. She doesn't respond. Your husband is responsible for 2 deaths, Torres continues. Darius Coleman and Alexei Volkov. We found both of them at the Maple Avenue property. We know Victor owned the house when they died. We know he sold it right after. What we don't know is why. That's what I need from you. Irina is crying now, silent tears running down her face. If I tell you, he'll hurt me. He's in jail. He can't get to you. You don't know him. I found 2 bodies in his house. I know exactly what he's capable of. And I know you're scared. But those men had families. They had mothers who loved them. They deserve the truth. You're the only person who can give it to them. Irina wipes her eyes, takes a shaky breath. Alexei died first. Torres turns on the recorder. Tell me everything. August 1999. Irina begins. Her voice is quiet, hollow. Victor and Alexei were partners. They bought houses together, fixed them up, sold them, made good money. But they fought constantly. About money, about properties, about everything. She pauses, collects herself. That night, they were at the Maple Avenue house, drinking, arguing. Victor said Alexei was stealing from the business. Alexei said Victor was paranoid. They started yelling, pushing each other. What happened? Torres asks gently. There was an altercation. Victor had a hammer. Alexei was injured. He didn't survive. Was it immediate? Victor said. Alexei stopped breathing quickly. Victor called me. He was panicking, crying, saying he didn't mean for it to happen, saying it was an accident. What did you do? I went to the house. I saw Alexei. Victor said we had to call the police. Say it was an accident. But I said no. I said the police wouldn't believe us. They'd say it was intentional. Victor would go to prison. Her voice breaks. So we concealed what happened. Victor buried Alexei in the basement, put concrete over the area. Torres writes this down. What did you tell people about Alexei? Victor told everyone Alexei moved back to Russia. Nobody questioned it. Alexei didn't have family here, didn't have close friends. He just disappeared and people forgot about him. Until Darius, Torres says. Irina nods, wipes her eyes again. September 2000. Victor was doing foundation work. There was water damage in the basement. He hired Darius to help. They were working on repairs. And Darius found something. Bones. Alexei's remains. Yes, part of the concrete had deteriorated. Darius saw them. He asked Victor what they were. Victor said they were from an old pet cemetery. But Darius didn't believe him. Darius said they looked human. He said he was going to call the police. So Victor stopped him, Irina sobs. Victor said he didn't have a choice. If the police found Alexei, Victor would go to prison. So he had to prevent Darius from calling. There was another altercation. Darius was injured. And then what? Victor panicked. He couldn't put Darius in the basement. The police would come looking. They'd find both of them. So he concealed Darius in the fireplace, sealed it professionally. The medical examination showed Darius didn't pass immediately from his injuries, Torres says carefully. Irina covers her face with her hands. Victor told me it was quick. He said Darius didn't suffer, but I don't know if that's true. Victor reported Darius as missing, Torres says. Filed a false police report saying Darius took money and left. Made everyone think Darius ran away. Then Victor sold the house a month later and moved to North Carolina. Started a new life. Left 2 victims behind. I wanted to tell someone, Irina whispers. So many times. But Victor said if I told anyone, he'd do the same to me. I believed him. You're telling someone now. That takes courage. It's not courage. It's guilt. I've been living with this for 10 years. Every day I think about those men. About their families. About what Victor did. I can't carry it anymore. Torres turns off the recorder. I need you to testify. In court. Against Victor. Can you do that? Irina nods. Yes. I'll tell them everything. He's going to threaten you. His lawyers will try to discredit you. They'll say you're lying. I don't care. I'm tired of protecting him. I'm tired of being afraid. Victor needs to pay for what he did. Torres stands. Thank you, Mrs. Petrova. You're doing the right thing. She looks up at him. Will it bring them back, Darius and Alexei? No, but it'll give their families justice. That's worth something. Patricia Coleman is 58 years old. She's a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She's been tired for 10 years, since the day her son disappeared. Detective Torres sits in her living room. It's neat, clean. Photos of Darius cover the walls. Baby photos, school photos, high school graduation. Darius smiling with his basketball trophy. Darius with his girlfriend Tanya. Darius on his 28th birthday. The last birthday he ever had. Mrs. Coleman, Torres says gently. We found him. We found Darius. Patricia's hands go to her mouth. Where? Is he alive? Torres shakes his head. I'm sorry. He's been gone since 2000. We found his remains at a property in Richmond, at 847 Maple Avenue. He was concealed in a fireplace. Patricia makes a sound. Not quite a cry, not quite a gasp. Something in between. 10 years. He's been gone for 10 years. Yes, ma'am. What happened to him? Torres doesn't want to tell her, but she deserves the truth. He suffered a serious injury, and then he was sealed in the fireplace. The medical evidence indicates it wasn't immediate. Patricia stands up, walks to the window, stares out at nothing. My baby. I'm sorry. Who did it? She turns around. Her face is hard now, angry. Who took my son? A man named Viktor Petrov. He hired Darius to do renovation work. Darius discovered evidence of another crime. Viktor prevented him from reporting it. Where is he now? In custody. We arrested him in North Carolina. He's being charged with 2 counts of murder. He's not getting out. Patricia sits back down. What do you need from me? I need you to tell me about Darius. About who he was, what he was like. The jury needs to know the man Viktor took away. Not just a name. A person. Your son. Patricia nods. She talks for an hour. About Darius as a baby. As a child. How he loved basketball. How he was always building things. How he got into carpentry in high school. How proud he was when he got his first paying job. He was a good man, Patricia says. He worked hard. He was kind. He wanted to start his own business someday. He wanted to marry Tanya. He wanted to give me grandchildren. Viktor took all of that away. I know. And I promise you, we're going to make sure he pays for it. Will there be a trial? Yes. Probably next year. You'll be asked to testify. To tell the jury about Darius. Can you do that? Yes. I'll do whatever it takes. Darius deserves justice. Torres stands. Hands her his card. If you need anything, call me. Anytime. Patricia walks him to the door. Detective, thank you. For not giving up. For finding him. For bringing him home. I wish I could have found him alive. So do I. But at least now I know. For 10 years I didn't know if he was alive or dead, if he ran away or if something happened. Now I know. It's terrible. But it's the truth. And the truth is better than not knowing. Torres drives back to the station. He thinks about Patricia. About 10 years of not knowing. 10 years of hoping her son would come home. And now she finally has answers. The worst possible answers, but answers. He thinks about Darius. 28 years old. Trying to do the right thing. And it cost him everything. Torres makes a promise to himself. Viktor Petrov is going to prison. For life. No parole. No second chances. He's going to pay for what he did to Darius Coleman and Alexei Volkov. The trial begins in January 2011. Richmond Circuit Court. Judge Michael Warren presiding. The prosecution is led by Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney Sarah Mitchell. She's 39. Sharp. Experienced. She's handled murder cases before, but this one is different. This one has 2 victims. 10 years of deception. A family that never stopped looking. The defense is led by Robert Harrington, expensive attorney from Charlotte. Viktor's family in Russia paid for him. Harrington is good. He's gotten guilty clients acquitted before, but this case is different. The evidence is overwhelming. Jury selection takes 3 days. 12 jurors, 7 women, 5 men, mix of ages and backgrounds. They're sworn in. The trial begins. Sarah Mitchell stands, addresses the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about 2 lives taken. 2 men who died because the defendant, Viktor Petrov, put his own interests above human life. She clicks a remote. A photo appears on the screen. Alexei Volkov. Smiling. Young. This is Alexei Volkov. He came to America in 1995. He started a business with the defendant. They were partners, friends. But in August 1999, they had an argument, and the defendant ended his life. Then he buried him in a basement and told everyone. Alexei moved back to Russia. She clicks again. A photo of Darius Coleman. This is Darius Coleman. He was 28 years old, a carpenter. He was hired by the defendant to do renovation work. While working, Darius found Alexei's remains. He wanted to call the police. The defendant couldn't let that happen, so he attacked Darius, then sealed him in a fireplace. The jury is silent, listening. Some look horrified. The defendant thought he could get away with this, Mitchell continues. He thought if he concealed the victims, if he sold the house, if he moved to another state, no one would ever find out. But he was wrong. A family renovating their fireplace found Darius. Police found Alexei, and now the defendant is here, facing justice for what he did. She pauses, looks at each juror. Over the next few weeks, you're going to hear evidence, forensic evidence, witness testimony. You're going to hear from the defendant's wife, who will tell you what really happened. And at the end of this trial, I'm going to ask you to find the defendant guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. Because that's what he is. A killer who took 2 lives and tried to hide it. Thank you. She sits down. Robert Harrington stands. Ladies and gentlemen, he says. His voice is smooth, practiced. The prosecution wants you to believe my client is a monster, a calculated killer. But the truth is more complicated. He walks toward the jury box. Yes, Alexei Volkov died at the Maple Avenue property. Yes, it happened during an argument. But it was an accident. A terrible, tragic accident. My client panicked. He made bad decisions. He concealed the body instead of calling the police. That was wrong. He knows that. But it wasn't murder. Harrington clicks his remote, a photo of the basement. As for Darius Coleman, the prosecution wants you to believe my client deliberately killed him. But where's the evidence? There's no weapon with my client's fingerprints, no witnesses, just the testimony of a bitter ex-wife who's trying to hurt my client. That's not evidence. That's revenge. Some jurors look skeptical. Others seem to be listening. My client made mistakes, Harrington admits. Terrible mistakes. But mistakes aren't murder. At the end of this trial, I'm going to ask you to remember that. Remember that the prosecution has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, and they can't. Thank you. He sits down. The judge addresses the jury. The Commonwealth may call its first witness. Sarah Mitchell stands. The Commonwealth calls medical examiner Dr. Lisa Huang. Dr. Huang takes the stand. She's sworn in. Mitchell begins. Dr. Huang, you performed the examination on Darius Coleman's remains. Can you tell the jury what you found? Yes. The deceased suffered significant trauma to the posterior skull. This injury would have caused unconsciousness. Would this injury have been immediately fatal? Not necessarily. The injury was serious, but based on the evidence, the cause of death was asphyxiation in an enclosed space. Can you explain what that means? The deceased was placed in an enclosed area with limited oxygen. Eventually, that lack of oxygen proved fatal. Were there any other findings? Yes. There were abrasions on the hands consistent with attempts to remove obstruction. The courtroom is silent. Some jurors look uncomfortable. Thank you, Dr. Huang. No further questions. Harrington cross-examines briefly, but the medical evidence is clear. The prosecution brings more witnesses. Forensic experts, police investigators, property records showing Victor owned the house when both men died. Then they bring Irina Petrova. She walks to the stand. Won't look at Victor. She's sworn in. Mitchell approaches. Mrs. Petrova, you were married to the defendant. Yes, for 15 years. Are you still married? No. I filed for divorce after his arrest. Can you tell the jury what you know about the deaths of Alexei Volkov and Darius Coleman? Irina takes a breath. She testifies about the night Alexei died. The argument, the altercation, the concealment. She testifies about Darius finding the bones, about Victor attacking him, about sealing him in the fireplace. She's crying by the end. I should have stopped him. I should have called the police. But I was scared. Victor said he'd harm me too if I told anyone. So I stayed quiet. And Darius died because I stayed quiet. You're telling the truth now, Mitchell says gently. Yes, because I can't live with it anymore. What Victor did, what I let him do, those men deserved better. Harrington cross-examines aggressively, accuses Irina of lying, of making up stories because she's angry about the divorce. Irina doesn't break. She insists everything she said is true. The prosecution rests. The defense begins. Harrington brings character witnesses, people who worked with Victor. They say he was professional, reliable, not violent, but they can't explain the discoveries in the house. They can't explain Irina's testimony. Victor doesn't testify. Harrington advises against it. Anything Victor says can be used against him. Better to stay silent. The defense rests. Closing arguments begin. Mitchell goes first. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case is overwhelming. 2 victims, both found at a property owned by the defendant. The defendant's own wife testified about what happened, about how he ended Alexei's life and then Darius's to hide it. She pauses. The defense wants you to believe this was all an accident, that Victor panicked and made bad choices. But concealing 2 bodies over the course of a year isn't panic. It's calculation. It's murder. She looks at Victor. Darius Coleman tried to do the right thing. He found evidence of a crime and wanted to report it, and the defendant silenced him permanently. She turns back to the jury. Find Viktor Petrov guilty of both murders. Give Darius's family justice. Give Alexei's family justice. Thank you. Harrington stands, gives his closing, argues the evidence is circumstantial, that Irina is lying, that reasonable doubt exists. Some jurors seem to be listening, others look unconvinced. The jury deliberates for 2 days, 48 hours. Patricia Coleman sits in the courtroom the entire time, waiting, praying. Finally, the jury returns. They've reached a verdict. Everyone stands. The judge asks the foreperson to read the verdict. In the case of Commonwealth versus Viktor Petrov, Count 1, murder in the first degree of Alexei Volkov, we the jury find the defendant guilty. Patricia's hands go to her mouth. Count 2, murder in the first degree of Darius Coleman, we the jury find the defendant guilty. Patricia breaks down. Her sister holds her. They're both crying. Victor shows no emotion, just stares straight ahead. The judge thanks the jury, sets a sentencing hearing for 2 weeks later. Patricia leaves the courtroom. Detective Torres catches up to her outside. We got him, Torres says. Patricia nods. Can't speak, just nods. The sentencing hearing is on a cold February morning. The courtroom is packed. Patricia is there. Darius's sister Simone, his girlfriend Tanya, friends, family, people who loved him. The judge asks if anyone wants to make a victim impact statement. Patricia stands. She walks to the front of the courtroom, stands at the microphone, reads from a letter she wrote. Your Honor, my son Darius was 28 years old when he was murdered. He had his whole life ahead of him. He wanted to start his own carpentry business. He wanted to marry Tanya. He wanted to give me grandchildren. Viktor Petrov took all of that away. Her voice shakes. For 10 years, I didn't know what happened to my son. I thought maybe he ran away. Maybe he started a new life. That hope was painful, but it kept me going. Now I know the truth. My son is gone, and he died trying to do the right thing. She looks at Victor. He still won't meet her eyes. I will never forgive you. I will never forget what you did. And I hope you spend the rest of your life in prison thinking about the 2 men you killed, thinking about the families you destroyed. She sits down. Simone hugs her. The judge turns to Victor. Mr. Petrov, do you wish to make a statement? Victor stands. I'm sorry for the family's loss. That's all he says. 5 words. No emotion. No remorse. The judge's face hardens. Mr. Petrov, you have been found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. These were not crimes of passion. These were calculated acts. You ended Alexei Volkov's life and concealed his body. When Darius Coleman discovered what you did, you silenced him. You sealed him in a fireplace. Then you sold the house and moved on with your life like nothing happened. The judge pauses. This court sentences you to life in prison without the possibility of parole on count 1. Life in prison without the possibility of parole on count 2. These sentences are to run consecutively. You will spend the rest of your life in prison. You will never be free again. Victor is led away in handcuffs. He doesn't look back, doesn't acknowledge anyone. Patricia watches him go. She feels empty. The verdict doesn't bring Darius back. The sentence doesn't heal the wound. But it's something. It's justice. It's the world saying what Victor did was wrong. 3 months later, Patricia holds a funeral for Darius. It's April 21st, 2011. 10 years and 7 months since Darius died. But now, finally, Patricia can lay him to rest properly. The service is at Riverside Baptist Church. The same church where Darius was baptized as a child, where he sang in the youth choir, where Patricia has prayed every Sunday for 10 years, asking God to bring her son home. The church is full. Darius's friends from high school, people he worked with, neighbors, church members. Detective Torres comes, sits in the back, pays his respects. Tanya Brooks sits in the front row next to Patricia. She's 37 now, never married, never moved on. She's been waiting for Darius for 10 years. Simone speaks, stands at the pulpit, looks at Darius's photo on the easel next to the casket. My brother Darius was the kind of person who always tried to help. If you needed something fixed, he'd fix it. If you needed help moving, he'd be there. If you had a problem, he'd try to solve it. Her voice breaks. That's what got him killed. He found something wrong and he tried to fix it. He tried to do the right thing. And Viktor Petrov took him from us for it. But that doesn't change who Darius was. He was good. He was kind. He tried to help. That's how we should remember him. Pastor Williams delivers the eulogy, talks about justice, about truth, about how God sees everything even when people try to hide their sins. Patricia doesn't speak. She can't. She just sits in the front pew and stares at the casket. Her baby is inside, finally home, finally at peace. They drive to Riverside Cemetery. The plot is under a large oak tree. Patricia picked it herself. Wanted somewhere beautiful, somewhere peaceful. The gravestone is simple. Black granite, gold lettering, Darius Coleman, 1972. 2000, beloved son, brother, friend. He tried to do the right thing. They lower the casket into the ground. Patricia throws in the first handful of dirt, then Simone, then Tanya, then others. Patricia stays after everyone leaves, sits on the grass next to the grave, talks to Darius like he's there listening. I'm sorry it took so long to bring you home, baby. I never stopped looking, never stopped hoping. And now you're here, finally. She wipes her eyes. Victor's in prison. He's never getting out. We got justice for you. It doesn't bring you back, but it's something. A breeze blows through the oak tree. Patricia closes her eyes, imagines it's Darius telling her it's okay, that he's at peace now. She visits every Sunday, brings flowers, updates Darius on her life, on Simone, on the world he's missing. She also tells him about the trial, about Victor's face when the verdict was read, about the sentence. He's never getting out, baby. He's going to die in prison. That's what he deserves. But even as she says it, Patricia knows revenge doesn't heal. Justice doesn't fill the hole Darius left. She'll carry that hole for the rest of her life. The Morrison family never moved back to 847 Maple Avenue. They couldn't. Every time they looked at that house, they remembered what they found. They sold it to a developer who tore it down. The lot sat empty for years. Eventually, someone built a new house there. A different design, no fireplace. But people in the neighborhood still call it the Fireplace house. The place where 2 men died and were hidden for years. The place where secrets were buried until a family with a sledgehammer brought them to light. Detective Torres retired in 2015. But he never forgot the case. Never forgot Darius Coleman. Never forgot Patricia Coleman's face when he told her they found her son. That's the thing about being a detective. You carry the victims with you. Their faces, their stories, the lives that were cut short. Torres thinks about Darius sometimes, about how a young man tried to do the right thing and it cost him everything, about how Viktor Petrov thought he could hide what he did, about how 10 years later, justice finally caught up. Patricia Coleman is 65 now, still lives in Richmond, still visits Darius's grave every Sunday. People ask her how she's doing. She says she's fine, but fine is relative. She lost her son. That pain never goes away. You just learn to live with it. But she's grateful too. Grateful they found Darius. Grateful Viktor was caught. Grateful she could finally lay her son to rest. For 10 years, she didn't know. Didn't know if Darius was alive or dead, if he ran away or if something happened. That not knowing was torture. Now she knows. It's terrible, it's painful, but it's the truth. And the truth, as terrible as it is better than not knowing. Darius Coleman was 28 years old when he died. He was a carpenter, a son, a boyfriend, a brother, a friend. He found evidence of a crime. He tried to do the right thing, and he was taken from us for it. He spent 10 years sealed in a fireplace, forgotten, hidden, while his family searched and hoped and prayed. But he wasn't forgotten. His mother never gave up. She kept looking, kept hoping, kept fighting, and in the end, she brought him home. That's love. That's determination. That's what it means to never give up on someone. Patricia Coleman could have given up, could have accepted that Darius was gone and moved on with her life, but she didn't. She kept searching, kept asking questions, kept refusing to believe he just left. And because she never gave up, Darius got justice. Viktor Petrov is 70 years old now, still in prison, still serving 2 consecutive life sentences. He'll die there, never seeing freedom again. He never confessed, never admitted guilt, never apologized beyond those 5 empty words at sentencing. But it doesn't matter. The evidence spoke for him. The jury believed it. Justice was served. Darius Coleman rests under an oak tree in Riverside Cemetery. His mother visits every Sunday, brings flowers, talks to him, keeps his memory alive. Because that's all she has left now. Memories. And the knowledge that Darius tried to do the right thing. He found a body. He wanted to call the police. He wanted to help. And even though it cost him his life, he was right to try. Because some things are worth fighting for, even if it's dangerous, even if it costs everything. Truth is worth fighting for. Justice is worth fighting for. Darius Coleman fought for those things. And his mother fought for him. That's the story. Not a happy ending. Not a satisfying conclusion. Just the truth. About a young man who tried to help. About a killer who thought he could hide what he did. About a mother who never gave up. About justice delayed but not denied. About a fireplace that held secrets for 10 years until a family with a sledgehammer brought them to light. That's what happened at 847 Maple Avenue. That's what happened to Darius Coleman. And now you know.